Hello, and welcome to the whysosidious podcast, where we travel from a galaxy far, far away through Asgard into Atlantis and wherever fandom may take us. Here we talk about anything, comics, novels, movies, shows, anything that we love to watch or read. Today, our topic is going to be the Disney side of Star Wars when they took over.
2012, maybe?
2012.
That's not for sure. But it was a few years before Force Awakens.
It was 2012.
Oh, hey, how about that? 10-year anniversary,
Nailed it.
guys. We were doing this for the 10-year anniversary of Disney
Yeah,
Star Wars. We knew
October
that ahead
30.
of time.
Hey. Okay, so here with me are David and Caleb. I am Jeremy. We're actually going to rank our favorite Disney Star Wars properties and kind of just discuss what the difference has been between Disney and pre-Disney Star Wars. It's an interesting topic. There's some highs and some lows. In my opinion, to sum it up, there's just been a lot of quantity over quality things. They're releasing stuff just for the title. Han Solo, Boba Fett. They release these things even though they don't have an amazing story to tell. It's just because there's a fan favorite name to dangle in front of your face and say, hey, come watch this movie. So I think they need to take a step back and tell good stories. Like, yeah, they can go for the box office thing or the views, but their reputation kind of lies on good storytelling. So it's kind of annoying when they release a big name like Boba Fett and the story just sucks. It's like, dude, I was kind of excited for that. I do love that character, but then they do things like Mandalorian or Rogue One where it's like, I don't know these characters, but they have a great story to tell. So it ended up being really good. What are your guys' thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, man. It's been weird. It's been a love-hate relationship since Disney took over Star Wars, Obviously one of my favorite properties was Star Wars itself. There's been a lot of bad things, but there's been good things too. And I have more hope in it now. I'll be honest, I lost a ton of faith as a whole after the shit that had been pulling between Force Awakens and now, like the whole trilogy stuff, all the drama with that, all the Kathleen, she shall not be named drama and BS that we've been going through with all this stuff with the franchise. The quality of stuff coming out started feeling like Happy Meal quality kind of stuff. Like you said quantity over quality. And that's totally what's been happening. That's totally how it felt, at least when they first took over. It just felt like they threw out all these Star Wars story spin-off things that nobody asked for, even though Rogue One ended up being incredible. I don't think I wasn't excited about it before it came out. I wasn't like, a Rogue One movie. Like, I didn't know what the hell it was even really about. But, other than the sequel trilogy being kind of a mess, it just started at the very top by them not having an organized plan, not having structure. They didn't have anything coordinated between the directors. There's just so many issues all stemming from the top, and kind of like the DC, it wasn't not nearly as bad as DC, but there were issues with planning and, scheduling everything out. Again, I don't want to put him with DC because they weren't at that level. But thank the Lord for Dave Filoni, man. He came in. His creation of Ahsoka has been one of the bright, shining spots of this entire Star Wars Disney stuff going on. The Mandalorian creation, all these original Star Wars characters who weren't a part of the Star Wars lore, but finally made properties start feeling like the Star Wars feel to it again. Like the Mandalorian had such a Star Wars feel to it, almost original trilogy type of familiar feel to it. It was like, oh my gosh, thank you. Okay, it's not dead in the water. We're good. And he's just done so much work, him and Favreau, obviously, but he's done so much work to kind of help bring that George Lucas feel back to Star Wars. We got the Ahsoka series coming out now. Mandalorian's been an incredible series. So it was rough for a while there, but I feel like Disney Star Wars is starting to get a hang of stuff, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree with most of what Dave said. I just really feel like Disney Star Wars is lacking a leader like Kevin Feige or George Lucas. Someone who isn't just on the business side running things, but someone who is creatively involved in all the projects and is making sure that there is a canon and a through line going through these movies and shows to where things make sense and to where they're not coming out with a TV show or a book after a movie came out to explain things. Like they do a lot of backtracking and retconning, so their Disney Star Wars makes more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's these comics coming out now where Darth Vader and Palpatine knew about Exegol during Empire Strikes Back, and Palpatine's been planning this since the original trilogy now, is what they're going off of. And, like, you know, Luke is taking all these missions to Exegol and trying... he didn't go there, but he was trying to find it the whole time. Now, but on the positive side, they have created some of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars. Like, talk about highs and lows. They've really, you know, tugged on the heartstrings more than George Lucas did, that's for sure. But, you know, the trilogy was a complete mess. Like, there was no continuity throughout the 3 movies. It was JJ and Ryan, you know, basically dick measuring against each other to see who could, you know, have their vision be the trilogy. And it's, you know, majority of their projects are delayed or canceled outright. I think Force Awakens and The Last Jedi were the only 2 movies that didn't have major problems with them. Everything after those 2, there's been a problem. Rise of Skywalker was completely rewritten. Rogue One had, I mean, I'm surprised we got the movie we got out of Rogue One after all the problems that was with that movie. Solo was completely rewritten with
new director
Ron Howard,
and everything.
Ron Howard rewrote the whole movie. And all you hear about these video games, they released a trailer for Star Wars Eclipse. That was literally just a trailer. There's no one even working on that game. They just released a trailer to try and get people to work on the game to finish it. And it's coming out in maybe 2026. And then also we get news.
Canceled.
Yeah, or canceled. Yeah, exactly. And then the Knights of the Old Republic remake. They just fired the 2 guys working on that game. So it's really hard to get a Star Wars project that doesn't have Dave or John working on it to come out at a respectful time.
Straight up. Yeah, the Old Republic thing was heartbreaking.
Yes. But yeah, they're just really lacking a leader who is creatively involved, just not on the business side. Kathleen Kennedy is just very old school, money oriented, where Kevin Feige is, you know, he's in there, and when he makes announcements at Comic-Con, he's excited and he's just as thrilled as the fans are. Kathleen Kennedy is not. She's just out there to make some
pure
money.
Business. Yeah, no, you're right. It's a great point. There's no heart to it. There's no like passion she has for Star Wars. She's just there to do her job, and that's fine. But you should go to another property because you need heart in this place. All right,
dude, that sums it up so well. She's all about business, and that doesn't work with the fans in the long run. You know what I mean? People are eventually going to stop watching Star Wars if they keep releasing shitty shows just because of a big name character. You know what I mean? They need good stories to tell.
I know plenty of people who are already over Disney Star Wars. Like, a lot of my friends are like, dude, Disney Star Wars is trash.
Totally.
Like,
and I get it, you know?
Yeah, no, I don't like go, you're absolutely wrong. It's like, well, you know, they have good stuff coming out. Okay. The Mandalorian,
that's what I'm saying is like, I'm still invested because of the Mandalorian and Rogue One and 50% of Obi-Wan. Like they still have some hope.
Now, that was my question for you guys. Some people do believe this. Would you rather have no more Star Wars after the original 6 movies? Like, it's done. That's all you get. It's a sacred 6. Or would you rather have what we have with Disney, where it's up and down, things are ruining some canon, but also you get some great moments at the same time?
I would rather them continue, obviously. As a huge fan of the franchise, I want them to continue. I want them to expand on the universe. There's so much story to tell. There's thousands of years and thousands of light years of places to go and stories to tell. Like, you could tell any story in the Star Wars universe. You don't even have to mention Skywalker, Death Star, Darth Vader. You could do anything in this universe.
Please stop mentioning Skywalker.
Yeah, no, for sure.
As a request,
you know what I mean?
Let's never speak the name again.
For sure. I would prefer there to still be Jedi and Sith, but I mean, even if it is Jedi and Sith, you don't have to be anywhere close to the idea of a Skywalker. Like, but even if there is no Jedi and Sith, like even if there's just the Force with some people on the side believing in this religion or this power that have access to this power, like whatever it is, there's just so many stories to tell. Yeah, I want the Star Wars franchise to stay alive.
Yeah, I agree. Dave?
Yeah, I mean, So look, I can understand that. I can understand that viewpoint. I can understand them wanting to leave it at 6. And this, in the world we live in of just, Fast and the Furious 25 coming out in 2028 and Mission Impossible 11 loading up and
it's 7 part
Top
1
Gun
and
3s. Yeah, so I get it. In the world of continuous sequels and no original stuff, like I get you not wanting them, even though it is, it's still original. It's not like a remake, but I get it. I can understand that. I can respect that, especially if that original trilogy really meant a lot to you growing up as a kid. I can totally understand that. But like JD said, me being a Star Wars nerd and me being spoiled with the MCU and what it's given us, I want more. But I'd be fine if they left the Skywalker saga alone after the 6. And then moved on. I still want Mandalorian, but and Ahsoka, all that. But I could live with that more so. But like JD said, there's so many, dude. There's so many. Just the Legends books alone, you can make so much good content out of all that stuff. There's so many cool stories to be told. So of course I want it to continue. I just want it to be done well. And like you said, I want them to stop just absolutely. They need to stop using the Skywalker name, bro. They just need to leave the Skywalker name alone. Stop exploiting the Skywalker name and go do some new stories. Like
it's like what JD was talking about, where it's the Boba Fett show, the Kenobi show, the Solo movie. Like, let's just take these characters from the original 6 and make movies about them, and the movie is just their name.
Yeah,
that's it, dude.
Yeah, I'm good. Don't they have a Lando project? Or had a Lando project at some point, which I love Lando, but I don't want a Lando series. Like, leave him alone.
Same with Han Solo, dude. Like, I love Han Solo. It was awesome that it was mysterious where he came from. I didn't need to know why he had the name Han Solo or
that was a bad origin. That was a bad name origin.
Well, and like, why would you recast a character that just got, like, Harrison Ford was just brought back for Force Awakens, and then you recast him and give him an origin? It's like, oh, come on, man. Just like,
it's just a money grab.
Just a money grab. And that's kind of the moral of the story with Disney. Although I do agree, I'm still invested. I mean, the high moments have got me invested. It's just a fan thing, whatever. I'm a fan and I want to believe in Star Wars, and the high moments have at least kept me believing. So we'll see what happens next. All right. Well, how about speaking of good stuff? I mean, do you guys have any, like, give me a couple scenes or moments that were big standouts for you in any of the Disney Star Wars creations? Caleb, give me a few standout moments, because there are some good moments. So I want to hear.
Yes. Basically, anything John and Dave get their hands on besides Boba Fett. But I still believe Boba Fett was thrown together at the last minute. They didn't really take their time on that show, so I'm going to give them a break on that one. And another thing, like I touched on before, was tugging on the heartstrings. Disney took a little note from Pixar, and like there's been, in Rebels, Mandalorian, Kenobi, moments where I was tearing up, and in the original 6, there's no moment in the original trilogy where I feel emotional, really. Even though I love them, but there's no moment that gets me like that.
Even the Obi-Wan and Anakin Mustafar thing should have, but yeah, you're right. I don't ever remember, and again, I get emotional during movies.
That gets me emotional. I'm not talking about the original.
Okay. I get emotional, I guess, but I don't know. I just feel like that should be more of a heartbreaking scene. But I love the scene, love the movie
every time.
Does it? See, that's weird.
I almost everything tear up every single time. I almost tear up every single time I watch that,
dude. That's weird. That's super weird, because I'm, the sensitive, everything freaking gets to me.
I'm the same way, though.
I've never teared up at that. Okay. Interesting. All right. Anyway, sorry.
And then another thing is Vader. In the original trilogy, Vader is this ominous figure, but honestly, he doesn't get a lot of screen time. He's just kind of standing in the ship, telling guys what to do. And then at the end, there's obviously iconic scenes of Vader in the original trilogy. But in Rebels, Rogue One, and Kenobi, I feel like they have treated Vader better than any other OG character that they got.
Agreed. You better.
Right?
Like, you better.
In the comics, they do Vader really good. Like, it makes it feel like Vader's the number one character in Star Wars at some points.
He should be. Should be based all around Anakin. So yeah, they do a good job of that in the comics.
No, great point. It is like that. That's how the prequel felt like. It is a bit. It's based on Anakin. When Obi-Wan cuts his freaking limbs off and he's crawling there, and he's like, "You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them." That scene gets me every time, dude. The prequels had some shitty acting and some weird writing, I guess, but the story of Anakin was done so well in the prequels. Like that's a great scene. Anyway, Dave, I want to hear your standout moments for the Disney side of Star Wars, whether it's any of the shows, movies, like what stood out to you?
Okay. I'll just the main one that stood out the most is I'll just say hallway scenes. So the Vader hallway scene, holy crap. We've talked enough about that. Obviously, we had our top 5 action scenes episode 5. Go ahead and check that out. Yeah, the Vader hallway scene, incredible. The Luke hallway scene in Mandalorian season 2, when you weren't even expecting Luke to show up in the show, and we get not only Luke showing up with the green lightsaber, but that hallway scene. My goodness. And then Darth Maul hallway scene in Clone Wars season 7. That's your scene right there, man. And it's a great scene. It's savage. It's so well done. The music, there's no just screams. That's all there is. There's no dialogue. It's just the clones screaming and Maul going down the hallway. So they've nailed those dramatic hallway scenes like that. So those are few of the scenes that stick out. Emotionally wise, they've got a few that definitely like kind of get to me and make me tear up a little bit in the sequel trilogy. And I guess it wasn't fair to say that I wasn't emotional during the Mustafar scene. It was an emotional scene. I just didn't tear up at any of that. Like the dialogue was great, heavy, well done. Like it was done really well. But yeah, for some reason, I don't know. But man, the scene in The Last Jedi. So Yoda shows up, Force Ghost Yoda shows up, and Luke's about to burn down the whatever it was, the sacred tree, the Jedi tree where everything is.
The sacred Jedi text.
The sacred Jedi text. He's about to burn down, and Force Yoda shows up. Luke, backs out of it, and Yoda just hits the tree with lightning and ends up burning it down anyways. And Luke's like, "What are you doing?" Like you said, the sacred Jedi texts. He goes, "Oh, read them, have you? Page turners, they are not." But he sits him down, and Luke's talking about how he's failed and talking about Rey and stuff. And Yoda has this line where he's talking to Luke, and he says, "Pass on what you have learned. Strength, mastery, but weakness, folly, failure also. Yes, failure, most of all. The greatest teacher failure is. Luke, we are what they grow beyond. That is the true burden of all masters." And I don't know, dude, I'm getting goosebumps reading it, man. Every time I watch that scene in The Last Jedi, no matter how much I'm critiquing it while I'm rewatching it and stuff, that scene, it's always like, that's one of the best, honestly, one of the best scenes for me in all of Star Wars. Like, just, it's so simple, but it's so well done, and it's so emotional for me.
I totally agree, dude. Rian Johnson sucks, but that scene was amazing.
Oh, come on, man. We got the Galactic Circle coming up.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm okay. If he does a whole trilogy, that's fine. But if he doesn't come in the middle of a trilogy and just destroy the creative perspective of one man who actually comes back to finish the trilogy, like, no, his own trilogy might be good. I'll watch it.
No, I understand. Yeah, but the movie was a mess.
I'm glad you brought up that scene. I didn't even consider that when I was considering the best of the Disney Star Wars. But dude, that's such a good scene. Amazing dialogue.
Sorry I didn't do the whole thing in the Yoda voice, but I didn't have it in me.
I appreciate that you did not.
I would have tried
it. Yeah, that's Lub's thing,
Lub does a good Yoda.
Greatest teacher. Failure is.
With my thing with Disney is like their high moments have been emotional. Like you can't say that the original trilogy might not have hit those emotional beats, but the emotional beats that Disney hit on were completely built on those original storylines anyway. So you know what I mean? They don't have these emotional beats without the original trilogy.
True.
The scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin, it's like that was something we literally needed as fans. Like we needed one last conversation with Obi-Wan and Vader after he cut off his limbs on Mustafar before he became Darth Vader. It's like we actually needed that as fans to have them have some kind of discussion about. And Vader, I mean, it was almost perfect. Vader said, you killed Anakin, or whatever he said, but Anakin's not here anymore. Like, I am what remains. The thing they did with Clone Wars Season 7, the last 4 episodes, the way they tied that into Revenge of the Sith, that was incredible. I didn't expect such an amazing show. Those last 4 episodes were so fun to watch. Mandalorian was incredible. It made you realize that they can make a new show based on a character that no one cares about. But here's this character, and they could tell an amazing story with this character, and it takes place in the Star Wars universe, and it's a lot of fun to watch. That kind of sums up.
Straight up.
There's probably other things, but I mean, Disney has done a lot of good things, so it's not all bad.
No, they have. There've been a lot of high moments. There've been a lot of low, but there've been a lot of high.
Yeah. Any other high moments before we start to kind of tear Disney apart a little bit, even though it's not all bad?
Yeah, I agree. That was my other point about it, was just the original characters that they've brought in. Again, Filoni for the most part, pretty much all Filoni with the original characters. But they've just done such a good job. And I will say one more positive thing about Disney Star Wars: the visual effects. No matter how terrible the sequel trilogy is, it's beautiful to watch. Like the imagery, man, some of those shots of the lightsaber fights, the all white room in Rise of Skywalker with Rey and Kylo, the snow fights, the ocean. Dude, there's just so many beautiful shots in it. And there's not really any CGI parts where I'm like, oh, that looks goofy. Like it looks amazing. It's some of the best CGI VFX I've ever seen in all those movies. So Disney Star Wars has used that money wisely, and they've definitely done well in that department.
That's that Lucasfilm money, Lucasfilm tech.
Yeah, no, totally agree. The visuals have been beautiful. Well, let's tear it apart a little bit. Let's go with Caleb. What have you not liked about the Disney Star Wars properties lately?
My biggest problem is the sequel trilogy. It's honestly upsetting to think about it, just how things ended and the way they took things overall. Just having J.J. Abrams with one story, having Rian Johnson complete his writing the script before he even saw Force Awakens. Like, he obviously had his own, he saw some outlines, obviously, but he had his own vision, and that he had his own ideas. He fought for the mom joke. Like, he fought for everything. Kathleen Kennedy gave him complete creative control over the movie. And then Duel of the Fates would have been an amazing wrap-up. They would have really saved it with the Duel of the Fates movie, but that's another pod for another time. They brought J.J. Abrams in last minute to try and save things. And I'm going to save my Rise of Skywalker opinion in my rankings. But it's a tragedy, honestly, what happened to my favorite movies of all time. Like, I love Star Wars. Even the first time I saw Rise of Skywalker, I wasn't in love with it, like, right away. Because even after Force Awakens and Last Jedi, I enjoyed the movie the first time, at least. Mm-hmm. And then watching it a couple more times, I was like, oh, I don't know about this.
That's funny. I felt that way about Rise of Skywalker. The first time I watched it, I enjoyed it actually a lot. But the first time I watched The Last Jedi, I was pissed. But all right, David, let's go to you. What kind of things disappointed you about the Disney side of Star Wars?
I mean, we pretty much touched on the main thing a lot, which was the cash grabbing and the not planning and just doing stuff to do it because they knew it would make money and not putting heart and, passion into it. So, the entire Kenobi series, it was built off of a scrapped movie trilogy script. They didn't take the time to renew it or they just straight up took Homeboy's script and took bits and pieces of it here and there and patched it into a series, which, again, some of it was amazing. But as a whole, I mean, let's be honest, man, it's not like it was a rock solid series the entire time. It had a lot of issues. And without the nostalgia stuff, I don't know. Those last 2 episodes saved it. So something that should have been taken with so much care and stuff. And they were just so disrespectful to my boy Kenobi. And, I just didn't really appreciate that. And then Force Awakens even comes out. When I first saw Force Awakens, I thought it was great because it was the first time Star Wars came back and everything. And I didn't even really notice the parallels of A New Hope. I did a bit, but not as much as there was. And I saw it the second time, was like, oh my God, this is A New Hope 2.0. They're not only playing the hits, they're literally doing it to a T of like almost everything that happened in A New Hope. But it's still, I like it and I can go back and watch it and enjoy watching it. But I liked it a lot first time seeing it, and then I started seeing all the flaws in it. Last Jedi, first time I saw it, I immediately walked out and was like, I didn't like that. I think that's the first Star Wars movie I've never liked coming out of a theater. Like, I was kind of wrapping my head around what just happened. Like, there was no excitement for Rise of Skywalker, really. I wasn't looking forward to the next movie when the credits hit. It was like, the hell was that? What just happened? And then Rise of Skywalker, I loved it somehow the first night. I don't know how. I really don't, but I loved it. And I texted my older brother, who, was the one that got me into Star Wars. I was like, they did it. They really did it. They actually pulled it off. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know. Maybe I was drinking a lot that night. It was something, wasn't in my right state of mind, but I enjoyed it so much. And then every time I rewatch it, it's like it gets worse and worse. And it's honestly, I think Last Jedi is a little better than it, in my opinion, at this point, which is super weird. But so yeah, the sequel trilogy and the cash grabbing have just been really tough to deal with. And one other small aspect, the novels since Disney has taken over have been pretty weak. I feel like I haven't really enjoyed many of the novels. The Ahsoka one was mid. Brotherhood was mid. Master and Apprentice was mid. I don't remember all the other ones since it's came out since Disney, but none of them have compared to Legends. Like even Thrawn, the third one was pretty weak. The second one was okay, but there was way too much Anakin and Padme. So the second one, it was just all highs and all lows. It was half Anakin and Padme, but then the Anakin and Thrawn stuff was amazing.
Just how he figures out that Anakin is Vader, and there's like the two timelines going on at the same time, where he's with Vader and with Anakin. That was good.
Yeah, I just feel like it could have been so much better if they wouldn't have kept going back to this Anakin and Padme stuff. And I just, there hasn't been a Star Wars novel since Disney took over that I've been like, that was really good. Except I guess the first Thrawn.
Well, I think Disney did Lords of the Sith.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I'm almost
scratch that because
one of them, one of the Vader ones is
really.
And Lost Stars.
2015.
You guys have.
Okay. I still haven't read Lost Stars, but Lord of the Sith. Okay, I take it back. That's a dope book that Disney has created.
Totally.
Did not know that was Disney.
Dude, you guys got to leave. The Lost Stars is like, if you read the description, it does not sound important or fun at all. I'm telling you, it's a fantastic book.
Just one other. Dooku Jedi Lost. That was solid.
Shit, that was Disney too. Oh, have you not read Dooku?
No, I don't even know. What is the
Dooku
title
Jedi Lost?
No.
Okay, Dooku Jedi Lost. It's about basically how he leads
audiobook.
Oh, it's only an audiobook?
They don't have
because it's like the full cast. Remember, there's a full cast of voices.
Oh, that's right. It was good though.
Yeah,
it was good.
It's a young Dooku, like him with training with Yoda, and then him training Qui-Gon and leaving the Jedi Order. It's pretty cool.
Okay, that sounds actually really interesting.
Yeah,
I will say though, Lost Stars.
But that's like 1 out of 30.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other Disney Star Wars books besides the other Lost Stars.
I am going to read Lost Stars. I'm definitely going to. So I bought the High Republic stuff most recently, but I do fully intend to get to Lost Stars too.
Cool. You will like it because it is told from the perspective where these kids are growing up thinking the Empire is cool and I want to join. I want to be a stormtrooper. I want to be a pilot for the Empire. It's a cool perspective.
See, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And then it follows the events of the original trilogy. So like it's a great story. And then the huge events of the original trilogy happen. And you're like, oh, that's cool. Interconnective tissue. That's fun.
Nice.
And I will say that Shadows of the Sith, I'm almost halfway through, and it does add to Rise of Skywalker. It makes sense.
That's not how we do things.
I know. Like they should have made a good movie regardless of some book being released. But it explains some things, dude. I'll tell you, Lando, why is Lando on this planet? Why is this dude with this weird dagger on this planet? Like, there's some things, but that's for another time.
I mean, I would enjoy stuff like that. It doesn't excuse the original product that they put out that they have to do that. Right. But I even enjoyed the novel for Rise of Skywalker a little bit more just because it explained more stuff and explained Kylo's journey to getting the Wayfinder and way more stuff. And it was like, okay, well, it
helped me sleep at night.
A little more sense. Yeah, and then I forgot everything, and then I watched the movies again. I'm like, this doesn't make sense.
Dude, yeah. You cannot make a movie in order to rely on a book 6 years later.
Give us 5 years. It'll all make sense in the book.
Trust me, this makes sense.
And honestly, I feel like Mando is leading towards helping out the sequel trilogy as well.
Probably. I hope Filoni
With
doesn't
the
let
whole-
them pull that shit though.
But with the whole Grogu taking his blood, trying to, do that stuff, get the force sensitive
if
blood.
they do a nod, if they do a nod
and the
towards
smoke
Palpatine
chambers.
cloning, that's fine. Yeah, they did have that too. I'm fine with that if they do a little nod to it. But if they devote a chunk of the season into explaining that, then I'm going to be pissed.
The only nod I want to the, what is it called? Like, the sequel trilogy here is, how did the First Order come to be? That's all I want to know.
There was something, one of the audiobooks, they kind of went into it a tiny bit about the transition, but I forget which one it was. But it didn't dive in a lot, but it was
a trilogy book called,
I didn't read that. Aftermath?
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I want to read that. I haven't read that yet though, but I've heard it's good.
Yeah, I've heard it's tough to get through the end of book 1 and getting through book 2. The beginning of book 1 rocks, and the book 3 rocks. It's just, I don't want to invest that much time.
Looking back on Force Awakens, though, a lot of things in that movie just like the First Order, Han and Leia broke up, and Han's a deadbeat dad. A lot of things just kind of are set up in that movie where you're like, okay, I guess this is how things are now.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I really like The Force Awakens.
Me too, though.
We'll get into that, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, other than that, the complaints about Disney Star Wars, they're just releasing shit just to release it. Like, I didn't even watch The Bad Batch, which is why I didn't include it on my list. Like, there's just so much Star Wars content. It might be good. Like, I've heard it's actually kind of good, but I didn't want to invest 10 hours into more Star Wars for a show that just wasn't important to the rest of the Star Wars universe. Like, yeah, it's cool. Probably a cool little extra. It takes place after Order 66, right?
Yeah. It's just all right.
Yeah, it's just whatever.
I would watch the first 4 episodes, is it the first 2? The first 2 is the Order 66 arc.
Yeah,
because the first episode's like an hour,
2 or 3 episode arcs or something. Yeah.
I would.
It's not bad.
JD, I would watch like the first 2 where it's the Order 66 arc, and then skip the whole middle, and then watch. I think the end, right, Dave? Like the finale, the last arc.
Oh, my bad. I think
was Cad Bane in the show?
Yeah.
He's So I would watch the beginning and the end. Honestly, the middle is just a bunch of like random side missions where they're going on to help someone out.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like Clone Wars and Rebels were actually both really good, but they did have a lot of filler episodes. If the Bad Batch was majority filler, I guess you said the first couple episodes, like, I don't care, I'll watch it. Even the animated shows, Clone Wars, Rebels, it had like a very Star Wars nostalgic feel to it when they opened up with this is what happened last episode, and then boom, here's your Star Wars logo. It actually does have a really cool nostalgic feel to it. Like, I was excited watching Rebels and Clone Wars. Bad Batch, I don't know, but
yeah.
Okay, well, let's get into the rankings. I'm like actually super interested to hear your guys' rankings compared to mine. Let's go from worst to best. You guys can discuss it as you feel. As soon as you rank it, I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, why is it where it is on your rankings?
Okay.
So I have 11. I didn't watch Bad Batch. I counted Clone Wars season 7. I counted Mandalorian as 2 separate seasons. So I have 11 rankings. Is that where you guys are at?
I got 12 with Bad Batch, but yeah, same.
You have Bad Batch. Okay, that's fine.
It's dead last. It don't matter.
Okay,
same.
That's perfect then.
So yeah, we'll get it out of the way. It's dead last for both me and Caleb, and you don't have it on your list, so we can put it as dead last for you too.
that worked out perfect. All right, David.
Yeah.
Give me your thoughts. Yeah. Why is Bad Batch number 12 on your list?
It's not even done bad. I watched the whole season. It's not done bad. It's about, average Clone Wars episodes. The Order 66 arc is cool at the start of it. I didn't really care about the end. There was a couple of cool scenes, I think. Tarkin's in it too, and some cool characters. Yeah, they're on Camino. Tarkin shows up at points, Cad Bane, but I just didn't care about it, and there just wasn't. it was, again, it wasn't bad. It's at the very bottom of the list, but out of everything on this list, I would rewatch everything else before I rewatched Bad Batch.
Yeah, basically all the same things Dave just pointed out. The one positive, I do like how each member of the Bad Batch is very different. You know, it's not just, you know, they're clones, but everyone has their own personality, their own trait, their own, you know, something they're very good at. So I will give them that. And Omega, she's not the worst.
I liked her.
Yeah, she was cool.
I liked her, actually.
Yeah. So there's some positives to the show. And Caleb Doom, Kanan, is in the Order 66. He's in the Order 66. Right. He's a kid in the Order 66, which is cool. I really did like that first episode, and then was very disappointed by the next 12 episodes after that.
Were there many?
Yeah, it was over 10 episodes for the season. Yeah, it was a lot of like, oh god, like they're going to probably why I don't remember. Help some random alien planet out with the Empire stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, it's last.
Yeah. No, Omega was cool. So JD, real quick, Omega is actually basically Boba Fett's sister.
Oh.
She's the only female clone they made from Jango Fett, and unaltered. The only other unaltered clone they made from Jango Fett other than Boba. So it's Boba's sister. And she's got an Australian accent, very thick Australian accent, which I get the clones all have the New Zealand Australian thing going, but it's pretty fun. Rekka.
Well, at least that's different.
Omega.
Something unique.
Yeah, no, it catches on, actually. You kind of start liking it after a while. But
yeah. All right. Well, that's your guys' 12. That actually does work out really well. I'll start with my least favorite Disney Star Wars property is Boba Fett. Boba Fett, I was super excited for. I mean, it's freaking Boba Fett, dude. But it felt just weird, dude. I mean, I was watching, I'm like, this doesn't seem like it has a purpose. Like, it's just, I mean, Boba Fett featured in this weird story that isn't even that exciting anyway. I didn't even want to rewatch it. I didn't want to like get into it to like give a good argument for why it's my least favorite. It's just, it didn't catch me. The funny thing is they had like one single episode with the Mandalorian and Luke, right? Like I almost felt like
Mando was in a 2 or 3, I think, but Luke was only in that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
because Mando was even in the finale at the end. So I think
the finale, he was a main part of the finale.
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker was in there, which was an amazing episode. I loved watching that. But that's not a Boba Fett show. That's a Luke and Grogu show. I mean, that would fit better in a Mandalorian show.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand. And didn't Grogu come back to save him? Was that in the Boba Fett show or was that in the Mandalorian show?
Yeah, we already got Mando and Grogu reunited through Boba Fett's show.
Yeah, that's ridiculous because Luke offered him the chance to stay training as a Jedi or take this route to lead him more towards the Mandalorian. That is a Mandalorian episode, dude. Like, why are you going to shove that into Boba Fett? They cheated. It's almost like they knew it sucked. So they threw in Grogu, Mando, Luke. It's like, yeah, of course we love these characters. This show sucks. Let's throw these guys in there. Like, that belonged in a Mandalorian episode. There was nothing about the Boba Fett series that I liked. I don't have a good thing to say about it except for those episodes that belong in the Mandalorian.
Yeah. It's the same. I mean, I got Boba Fett at the same spot too, because it's just, the first episode wasn't bad. I mean, it was whatever. It was like, okay, they're going to explain a little bit about his, but I don't know. The flashback stuff was even done pretty sloppily. It wasn't bad. I was like, all right, that's a decent start, but it was just awful the rest of the time. It was goofy. The Vespa gang stuff was like ridiculously corny. I don't even understand why they did that. The whole cybernetic doctor and everything and all that stuff was just super goofy. And Boba Fett himself, bro. Boba Fett in Mando season 2 was so dope. Like, he shows up for the first time when he arms up and he takes out a whole battalion of stormtroopers by himself, just going hard, just destroying people. And then the Boba Fett show, dude, he's not taking out anybody. Like, he was weak and he's cracking jokes or being like goofy. He had that goofy ass scene where he's chasing the droid in the kitchen and he's trying to like hit him with whatever he was trying to club him with. And he's chasing a little kitchen chef or a little chef droid around the kit. Like, it was like a cartoon. It was just super corny. Again, until Mando got brought in, Mando season 2.5. So I don't count that as the Boba Fett show. And they just totally did a disservice to the character as a whole. He's way less badass in my mind right now in canon. Like Boba Fett just came off goofy.
I agree with all that. There were a couple good things because I do have this ranked at my 10th spot.
Wow.
Yeah. I did like him with the Tusken Raiders. Those first 2 episodes were pretty cool.
Yeah.
I did like that.
Cool.
Getting all the culture and all the, different perspective, because in the original trilogy, they're just these sand people, the villains, and you get a different side of that. But then, of course, the middle part where, and like you were saying, he constantly needs to go back to his back to tank. Like, he's injured after every fight and he needs to go back to his back to tank so he can have a flashback.
Yeah.
They were just putting that in the show for plot when it didn't make sense when he was in the Mando kicking ass.
Yeah. It was sloppy.
But that Mando episode where he's with the Darksaber and he's going with the butcher shop is like one of my probably like top 3 or top 5 favorite Mandalorian episodes.
It was definitely dope, yeah.
And the Luke stuff, how they fixed Luke, he looked a lot better. You get Ahsoka with Mando, Grogu, Luke, that whole stuff. It's not Boba, so that's why it's at the 10 spot. But at the same time, it was really cool to see all that stuff. But it should have been saved for Mandalorian. It doesn't make sense. It should have been saved for Mandalorian. But I guess Mando, they're just going straight to the Mandalore stuff.
Yeah.
I got to know, what's number 11?
My number 11th is The Rise of Skywalker.
I had a feeling. Especially after your rewatch recently.
After my rewatch.
All right. I just Caleb, tear it apart. Let's hear it. Because
Let's get into The Rise.
Oh no.
That's my next spot too. Just tear it apart.
I don't even know where to start with this movie, honestly. And the trailers really got me. I was so hyped for this movie off the trailers. And honestly, I should have noticed the red flags because Palpatine in the trailers. And they showed way too much of the movie in the trailers too. They were desperate.
Yeah.
But this is a trilogy put into one movie. I will give it one thing. It's a complete mess. It knows it. So it says, fuck it. Let's have some fun. But just the pace of the first half of the movie is out of control. On the rewatch yesterday, it's like Kylo Ren's on what is it?
I don't even know what the planet
Mustafar?
was.
No, it was Mustafar. It was a different side of Mustafar.
I don't think it was Mustafar. Was it?
I think it was, but
well, they didn't say it because they didn't explain anything in this movie. But I think they did say that in the novel.
Right,
you might be right. Yeah.
But I paused the movie at like 20 minutes in, and I was like, "Holy crap! Like so many things have happened already. We're only 20 minutes into the movie." But once things do get settled back into JJ's vision, the second half of the movie is slightly better. I will give it that. Once things start to slow down, but it's like, where did all these Star Destroyers come from? How did Palpatine survive? It's the first scene of the movie Palpatine is in.
Yeah.
This is a perfect example of how not to write exposition. Like the first half of this movie is just undoing everything Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi. Like JJ literally puts Kylo's helmet back together. And we get the Rey, I never told you. I never told you what? That was never mentioned again, but hey, maybe Finn will let her know in the new Lego Galactic Star Cruiser special.
It hurts. It hurts. It's so ridiculous, dude. Hey, we were 43 minutes in when Chewie was already taken. When Rey blew up the ship, they had the whole thing. I paused it. I was like, we're 43 minutes into the movie. I think 2/3 of the way through.
That's probably my favorite scene in the movie. One of 2 favorite scenes in my movies is Rey, where her and Kylo are fighting over the cruiser. Kylo walks up all nonchalant, just sticks his hand up, and it makes that force sound, and he just grabs it. And then you get that raw power of Rey and the force lightning, and it's like, holy shit. I remember in the theaters, I was freaked out. Chewie just died. She just did force lightning. What the hell? And then literally 2 minutes later, you find out Chewie's still alive. It was 2 minutes. Like, at least
So
let it hang for a
ridiculous.
little bit. And that's another thing. There's no stakes in this movie at all. Even
Yeah.
C-3PO gets his memories wiped. And it's like, he has this kind of emotional scene where he's like, goodbye, you guys were good friends. I guess I'll,
Mhm.
never see you again. And in the end, R2's backup is totally fine, and he gets all his memories back. So once
Bro,
again,
it was
that
like
didn't
10
mean
minutes
anything.
later. It was
Oh,
so soon, too. It was way quicker than I realized when I was watching last night. Like,
Hux is the spy, then he just dies in the next scene.
mhm.
Rey's backstory is just thrown in for fun. The Palpatine reveal, I remember watching that in theaters for the first time, and Kylo goes, "You're a Palpatine." I felt nothing. I literally didn't feel a single emotion at all. I was like, okay, like, she's a Palpatine. That does not make sense at all. Like, revealing that the main character of your trilogy is related to Palpatine should be like, holy shit,
should be
like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But you're just like, there's literally no hints in the last 2 movies that
No.
he's even alive. Like, her being a nobody was totally fine with me. Like, that's cool.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't always have to be a Skywalker or a Palpatine. It's fine.
Right.
Like, the Force is like that. Like, there were so many Jedi in the
That's
prequels.
the point. It's the
Yeah.
point of it. Anakin was a nobody.
And the Han vision, honestly, that does not make any sense to me. I do kind of like how it mimics The Force Awakens. That is cool how, some of the scenes. But would have been
Yeah.
perfect for me and could have saved the movie is Anakin. If he turns around and he sees Force Ghost Anakin standing there, telling him, saying the same things and
Okay.
telling him, that would have made because Vader is his idol.
Right.
And if Anakin is standing there telling him, what you've been
It's
doing
not
is
too
wrong.
late.
Yeah, it's not too late. Like, that would have been so sick.
That's
But
a
no,
good point.
It's Han Solo. Like, that's never been done before in any movies. You can't he's not Force sensitive.
Yeah,
I get
they
it was like
explained it was a memory, but that doesn't make sense because memories
No.
are things that have already happened. That's called a hallucination, not a memory. Yeah, I thought Luke would have been dope, but Anakin's a great call too. I thought Luke at least would have made more sense or something. Because again, anybody who can be a Force ghost would have made more sense, and Luke still could have had like some important things to say there since he kind of kickstarted Kylo's turn. But yeah, anything other than Han really would have made more sense. Even Leia.
Yeah, even anyone.
Let me ask you this: what do you like about the movie? Is there anything that you liked?
Okay, Kylo and Rey are probably my favorite part of the sequels. Just The Last Jedi, any scene with them in it is very good. Like, they do have a complex relationship, and I feel like it could have been expanded on more, but they did do a pretty good job of it. Like I said, you get the scene in the trailer where Rey jumps over the Kylo's TIE fighter.
Beautiful.
It was an amazing scene. And then my other favorite scene has to be Luke. When he comes back, he grabs the lightsaber, which is another rewrite of Last Jedi where he says, a Jedi's weapon deserves more respect. But just the dialogue between him and Rey is amazing. And then how he lifts the X-Wing out of the water, which is a callback to Empire Strikes Back, but just how the score
theme
hits.
Yeah.
Yes. Get chills every time seeing that scene. How he's closing his eyes just like Yoda did too. He's doing the same movements, same posture as Yoda.
It was done really well.
But that's
really
still just nostalgia. But it gets in.
Right.
I'll take it.
Yeah. All of the positives. Well, not all, but yeah. Again, majority of it was the nostalgia bits. The Yoda Force Ghost, the Luke Force Ghost. Yeah.
So, what about when you saw Palpatine alive in one of the first scenes of the movie? Did that give you excitement, or did that make you feel like, what the hell are they doing?
Okay, for the first watch and I first saw him, I was definitely excited because I thought, they could still pull it off in some way. But then at the end of the movie, it was like, because, he basically tells Rey his entire plan right before she's about to kill him, strike me down and you will become, I will become the most powerful person or whatever. And, he gets the Force lightning deflected back in his face for like the third time.
Yeah, keep shooting it. Your face is melting, but keep on shooting that lightning.
So yeah, but I was excited at first, but they didn't pull it off.
Yeah, well, the idea of Palpatine coming back and the why of Palpatine coming back never made sense. But dude, to this day, that like one of the 2 or 3 scenes I love in that movie, which is like an overall like 5 minutes I enjoyed of that movie. I actually enjoy Kylo going up and meeting the living Palpatine, dude. It just seems so sinister and so badass. But then you think about it, and it's like that makes no sense. Actually, like it's just all entertainment. Like it is.
Bad.
Yeah, the writing's terrible.
Pure
it is all
entertainment.
entertainment. Yeah, pure entertainment. There's no story or depth, but it is cool to see, you know. But
yeah, like Love was saying about the pace, it's so fast paced. So it's just, you know, things are happening the whole time. It's entertaining, but good Lord, I mean, it just, holy crap, you skip through so much stuff in so little time. Like,
yeah, you don't explain anything, but that explains why like some of us enjoyed it the first watch. Like I was stoked about it. I was like, this is dope. And then you sit back and you think about it and you're like, wait, that nothing made sense at all. Actually, that doesn't like carry any water. So
I'm embarrassed by how much I liked it coming out of the first time.
Dude,
like,
same.
Like, dude, I told multiple people it was dope. Like, and then I went back and saw it the second time. Was like, and I texted everybody I texted that night. I was like, all right, I just rewatched it. It's not as good as I said it was. Like, sorry if you already went and saw it with high expectations.
What's funny is if you're not a Star Wars fan and you don't know any of the history, this might be a super good, entertaining movie for you.
Entertaining, yeah, for sure. But you even more so would have no idea what the hell's going on.
But if you watch it by itself and don't think about anything that came before it,
entertaining as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Probably feels like a Fast and the Furious movie, just all.
I'll say Transformers.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again, so I was watching it last night. All my bad stuff about it, Caleb basically just touched on all of it. I mean, I fully agree with every single thing that he said about it. By the way, no offense to Kelly Marie Tran, really. It's not about her at all. It's about the way they wrote her character. I'm so glad they sidelined Tico Rose, or I think that's her name, Rose Tico. Again, not all the backlash she got was so much BS and so messed up, but it's not her fault. It's the writer's fault, and they wrote an awful character. So I'm glad they sidelined her. But so I'm watching it, and all the dope stuff that I was stoked about when I was watching it in theaters, I'm seeing, you know, again, like I said, every single time I've rewatched it, I've liked it a little less because I noticed more and more things that just don't make sense. The Death Star scene. So there's remnants of this Death Star, and it's on this moon near Endor, one of the moons of Endor. Beautiful scene, dope little action lightsaber scene. Probably the best lightsaber duel we've had in this sequel trilogy, you know, because I wasn't a fan of any of them. I mean, I was, but they just compared to the prequel. It doesn't compare. But if you've seen Return of the Jedi, the ending scene when the Millennium Falcon and the rebels destroy the Death Star that's being rebuilt, we see a straight up nuclear explosion. The entire Death Star has a giant yellow circle with a giant blasting line down the middle of it, and it's literally powder. It's like literally like powder and dust dropping down. Like it was like it got disintegrated. How did that giant ass piece of the Death Star, not only that huge chunk of the Death Star, just land on a moon when again there was nothing left when that thing blew up, but the throne room stayed intact? And the Sith Wayfinder didn't even move. It was still just chilling on its shelf perfectly, like no problem like that. I don't know. The whole entire Death Star got obliterated. So I don't know how that's really there in the first place. But it's just a key example of a lot of dope scenes that were really cool first time watching. And then every time you start thinking about how the setup is, it's like, doesn't really make sense though.
Totally.
Let's not even mention Ochi's dagger and how she pulls it out and it lines up perfectly.
It just knows exactly where to put it in the wreckage. Right there. Oh, with the little red triangle. And how does she remember where that is when she's flying through the waves and the crashing waves and everything? How the hell would you know where you're going? You wouldn't. I don't care if she's got the Force, man. That's like
Dude, you
It's
can
far-fetched.
explain things with the Force so many ways, but you're telling me the wreckage of the Death Stars isn't being moved by the waves or the ocean? Like it's just gonna stay there for a perfect.
when that knife
And they're
was
in the
made,
perfect spot.
It's a little goofy.
They didn't even
didn't
move
shift
around.
at all. Didn't shift at all. It's in giant tidal waves, but that thing's just staying intact, hasn't shifted, and apparently there's working TIE fighters in there that Kylo hopped in on and flew to Exegol without a Sith Wayfinder.
Yeah.
Those TIE fighters didn't have hyperdrive, by the way, in the original trilogy, so he found an old-ass TIE fighter and just manually remembered where to get to Exegol and piloted himself there right behind Rey.
Huh.
Well, I
didn't even
guess
think
Rey
about
went to
that.
the island first and then burned that and then got a TIE fighter and did all that. On top of that,
But
she
still.
burned the entire TIE fighter and then walks into the burned wreckage of the TIE fighter and just grabs the untouched Sith Wayfinder, plugs it into the
Those things are
X-Wing.
fucking invincible,
They are
man.
durable, bro. but Kylo crushed one with one hand. So they're not that durable.
Oh, jeez.
He crushed it into powder. He Thanos that thing like it was the Tesseract.
What can you do?
A lot of problems.
Just saying.
You know what?
Not to get
I
excited
blame,
about it or anything.
I blame Ryan Johnson. He forced J.J. Abrams to rush this story, and he had to make do.
No.
I blame
I mean,
Kathleen
honestly, I hate to say it, and it's a tragedy, but Carrie Fisher passing away because Duel of the Fates, because you realize that Force Awakens was Han Solo's movie, The Last Jedi was Luke Skywalker's movie, and Duel of the Fates was going to be Leia's movie. Like the script of Duel of the Fates was centered around Carrie Fisher and Leia and Kylo being the villain. And once she passed away, I feel like the guy who wrote that movie couldn't pull things together fast enough. So they brought JJ in to just get things pulled in together.
You know what? I actually love that perspective. Like, I still believe that it would have been better if J.J. Abrams had the whole trilogy, but
Yes.
the way you explain it with the first two movies being their movie and Leia's being the third movie, like, of course it's disoriented. It's of course, but at the same time, god damn it, just choose one director to make three movies.
It still doesn't
dude.
make The Last Jedi good. The Last Jedi was still bad, even if Duel of Fates would have came out. It still is a mess compared to the first movie that came out. Duel of Fates would have been way better, 100%. Like the script and everything like that was all the leaked script stuff that came from that. Was that portions of Duel of the Fates? Like when we find out Kylo stays a villain the whole time and he actually goes
the whole
to,
entire script.
Okay, and they go to Coruscant and stuff. Yeah. No, oh my god,
There's like there's a
movie.
Jedi temple under Coruscant, and Kylo's the villain, and it looks bad, badass.
I don't know if that excuses The Last Jedi still though, but
no,
it still
it followed The Last Jedi more though, instead of just rewriting The Last Jedi. It kept continuity at least.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. JJ wasn't about to keep continuity. He's like, you tore apart my first movie. I am going to tear yours apart and use it to put mine back together.
Yeah. That's a problem with this trilogy. It's just like different directors trying to tear apart what the previous director did.
Yeah.
That's what brings me to my number 10. My second least favorite Disney Star Wars property is The Last Jedi, not Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
And that is because everything that J.J. Abrams put into place in The Force Awakens was torn apart by Ryan Johnson, to the point where I was sitting in theaters even the first time watching it, and I was irritated. I was like, oh my God. Finn might have been hinted at having some Force sensitivity. Gone. He introduced that one character. What's her name, David? You mentioned her. It's not her fault.
Rose Tico.
And Finn's, their little character arc was just wasted screen time. They ended up in the same exact place they were when they started this mission. Not a mission, but adventure. Like, oh man, Rey meets Luke at the very end of Force Awakens, which was such an exciting ending. It was so exciting, and you're sitting here thinking you got Mark Hamill and Luke coming back with our new Jedi Rey. And then the first thing you see with him is him throwing the lightsaber behind him. I mean, it's so frustrating to me. The fact that Kathleen Kennedy chose to have a random different director come in for this second episode of this trilogy and do his own thing. Like, dude, why didn't you have J.J. Abrams do the whole trilogy? Like, episode 9 of this trilogy was terrible, and it could have been so good if he just like, if all his foreshadowing and his little Easter eggs like were able to grow throughout the second movie. Yes, Snoke, like if they were able to grow throughout the second movie into this third movie, the third movie would have been better. Instead, we got this second movie where Rian Johnson took the Force Awakens and literally said, no, fuck everything you did. I'm going to take a different route and I'm going to change things. Like, and it's like, dude, it just becomes disjointed at this point, incoherent. There were some good scenes, like whatever. I mean, the throne room scene when Snoke dies and Rey and Kylo are fighting off his people. And I mean, even Poe Dameron flying through space, you know, shooting down these weapons on this Star Destroyer or whatever it is. Whatever. I mean, there were some good scenes. And then you had Luke, dude. He comes back for the final battle. And it was such a cool buildup. And he walks through and he talks to Leia, Poe Dameron, whoever it was. And the buildup was amazing. Yeah. I mean, the score was cool. What's left of the rebellion is stuck in this cave. And then he walks out to this army, doesn't tell them the plan. His plan ended up being, I'm going to buy you some time to escape. But he didn't tell them this. They could have been escaping the whole time. They could have ran out of the cave. And instead, he doesn't tell them. And he walks out to the army where I was expecting him to force push the whole army down to their freaking backs, like something badass, like do something so cool. And instead, he kind of just fights Kylo, and apparently he wasn't there the whole time. And then he dies, sacrificing himself to buy them a couple minutes. Like, he doesn't tell them after he disappears or whatever you want to call it. That's when the rebellion army decides, like, oh, he was
we should leave.
We should leave. He was a decoy. Let's leave now. Like, dude, I mean, the movie would have been better if Luke simply told them, I'm not really here. I'm a Force ghost. I'm going to distract them for a minute. Go escape. Go escape. And then he walks out and does his thing, and that's fine. Better yet, why not give him a big-ass Force push and do something badass for the screen and just shove the whole army on their back? That's Luke Skywalker, dude. He's one of the most powerful Jedis ever. Like, I expected something more from that. I like it more than Boba Fett. You know, like when I rewatch it, it's not, you know, it's fine, but it's just there's so many things I wished happened. So that's second worst on my list. Caleb, so you have Rise of Skywalker as your worst of the Disney properties, correct? Or sorry.
Bad Batch, then Rise of Skywalker.
What's after that? I'm sure it's Boba Fett.
It's Boba Fett.
Okay.
We already touched on Boba Fett.
Okay, so David, I'm curious. What's your next on the worst of Disney?
Oh, mine's The Last Jedi too. I won't go. I mean, again, I agree with pretty much every complaint you had about it. It was just a mess. Rose Tico's horrible character. Everything she did with Finn was super annoying. Her almost killing him to stop him from sacrificing himself to save the day. She not only stops him, but almost killed him in the process anyways. And he just would have been dead for no reason. And she says this corny ass line. And again, that's a super tiny part of the movie. But again, JD touched on most of the stuff. It just wasn't good. There were some cool scenes. The Yoda scene was cool. Throne room scene was cool, even though the choreography of all the extras in the background, just spinning their blades, watching them fight, kind of takes me out of it now. You know, yeah, it was just goofy and wasn't a good movie. So yeah, that's the one right barely above Rise of Skywalker. And the only reason for that is because Rise of Skywalker was just such a rushed mess for pure entertainment. And if you ignore the existence of The Force Awakens, at least The Last Jedi had like some creative writing in comparison to Rise of Skywalker. But when you compare it to what they did to Force Awakens, it's a train wreck. So Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker basically tied for me, but I gave it the nod.
So my number 9 Disney Star Wars property is also Rise of Skywalker. We touched on that enough. I will say the entertainment value pretty much gave it the edge over Last Jedi, but it just doesn't matter. It was a mess. So after Boba Fett, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, David, what is your next Disney Star Wars property?
So right above The Last Jedi, I have Rebels. So again, I won't go too deep into it, but Rebels has some good stuff. It's got some good stuff. There's some really great episodes and some really great sequences that really add to the lore of Star Wars. There really is. The Inquisitors, they did it 10 times better than the Kenobi series did. Good Lord. Maul coming back, Vader, Ahsoka, the new characters they introduced with Ezra and Kanan. I mean, it was good. It's just a bit too far on the children's side for me. It's aimed at kids a little bit more. Definitely more so than Clone Wars was. Clone Wars gets dark, man. They got people getting beheaded. They have some crazy stuff happening in Clone Wars. Rebels, it was after it was put on Disney purely, so it was going to be a little bit more TVY 7 or whatever it's called. Like they weren't going to go above that. So it's just it toes the line at times and does a good job at finding that balance between too childish for adults and too mature for kids, but at points it's just too much for me. And the animation style kind of takes me out of it too. So there's some good stuff in it though. Not to take anything away from the show. There's some really cool stuff in it, but
For sure. All right, Caleb, if I have your list right, your least favorite was Rise of Skywalker. Your next least favorite was Boba Fett, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that is The Last Jedi?
No, Solo.
Solo is
okay.
above The Last Jedi. I'm interested. I haven't.
No, below
Yeah,
The Last Jedi.
below, yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Cool. Let's get into Solo because I have some thoughts on this too. So what do you got, Caleb?
And that's my next two.
Solo just felt pretty inconsequential to me. I enjoyed it watching in theaters, but overall I felt like it was very unnecessary. A lot of the Han backstory was just forced, where, you know, he's like, you're alone, so we're going to call you Solo. The Maltese was cool. Emilia Clarke, I really liked her character in that movie. But just how, you know, nothing has come from it. Like, we got that one movie, and it teased a lot of things coming in the future. But we never got a Solo 2 or even like a Solo TV show, which I would really enjoy, which I think would be the better move to go in the future anyways. Like a Solo TV show where you get Emilia Clarke working with the Crimson Dawn. Now that, even a Crimson Dawn series would be dope, where you get Emilia Clarke working with, you know, trading spice, doing some dark stuff, maybe get Solo in there too.
Agreed. It's like you almost want a perspective that close to the ground, where it's like, what's going on this close to the ground? You don't need like planets blowing up. But
yeah, that's basically why I have Solo lower than Last Jedi. There's just things in Last Jedi that resonate more with me. Like I said before, anything with Rey and Kylo, I really liked. Even though they didn't really treat Luke properly, there were some good scenes with him. Especially like how Dave touched earlier about the Yoda scene. That's an amazing scene. That's better than anything in Solo to me.
yeah,
And I mean, the whole Kylo and Rey force timing each other was pretty cool. So yeah, that's why Solo is lower than Last Jedi.
Okay.
yeah. I barely had it above Last Jedi for myself. I think it was just a well-written movie, even though it didn't need to be made. Like, as a movie itself, it's totally fine. Han Solo didn't need to happen. Like I said in the intro to this episode, like, you just had Harrison Ford come back in The Force Awakens, like, and then you're going to recast him for his own little origin movie, which we didn't need, dude. Like, the cool thing about Han Solo is he didn't have an origin story. He just showed up, and he was this dude at the bar that Luke and Obi-Wan met that ended up lending them a hand. Like, that was so cool about his character. We didn't know where he came from. I thought they could have just scrapped this movie, dude. And that goes back to the whole Disney thing. You know, it's just quantity over quality. This is a good name. Everyone loves Han Solo. So, oh my gosh, let's recast him and give him an origin story. Oh my gosh, put it out in the movie theater. Oh my God, let's do this. It's like, dude, we don't need that. Come on.
Yeah. It was definitely not needed, and it's unfortunate that it kind of ruined it ruined the Kenobi trilogy that was being planned. It ruined any Star Wars spinoff after that because they scrapped everything after Solo. Solo's right. That's my next one on my list too. I don't have a ton to say about it. I didn't really write any notes about it. All I'll say is I liked it more than a lot of people did. I didn't think it was bad. I thought, again, it was totally unnecessary, but I didn't think it was bad. I thought the character who did step in to play Han did pretty well. I don't remember his name, so don't make me try to say it. Woody Harrelson was a cool character. I thought Amelia Clark had a cool character. The Darth Maul thing at the end was dope in theaters. I had no idea that was coming, but I don't know what the hell they're doing with that. I feel like that was just kind of another, like, hey, let's throw in Darth Maul at the end of this too. People like Solo. People like Maul too. Yeah, cool. Throw him in. But overall, it was whatever. It was pretty much the definition of a mid movie, but it wasn't bad.
It was exciting to see Maul back. Like, obviously, everyone loves Darth Maul.
Yeah.
But are they really going to do any more live action Darth Maul stuff, especially if they had the opportunity in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? It kind of felt like that might have happened, but I don't know. I mean, at this point, it doesn't seem like that's going to have any payoff.
I know they'd mentioned possible. Well, no, it shouldn't have any payoff because he dies in Rebels. Obi-Wan Kenobi kills him in Rebels, which is before A New Hope. So he's dead. So he's not going to come back in the Ahsoka series.
Exactly. And that's an old ass Obi-Wan, though. Like, this is the last chance. Your Obi-Wan Kenobi show might have had it. But I mean,
yeah. That's a good point. That would have been the best place to put it. I guess Andor, maybe he could be in there somehow, but he'd still be on the verge of almost dying, I guess. I don't know.
Plus, he's not necessarily at that point. If he was in Andor, he is not at all for the Empire's point of view. Like, he wouldn't be working for the Empire at all. No,
he would be the same role he had in Rebels, just kind of out to find Kenobi and running a crime syndicate.
Exactly. Which is why, dude, that would have been cool if he was in Kenobi. Imagine a live action Darth Maul. That was kind of your last chance to do it.
Yeah.
That's all right. Okay. So, number 7 on our list, David has Han Solo. But Caleb, you have Obi-Wan Kenobi as number 7 on your list. What didn't you like about Kenobi?
Basically what we touched on in our debut pod.
Check it out. Episode 1.
Hey.
Great audio quality.
Yes. Just how rocky it was. Same thing. It was basically another Solo or a Boba Fett, to where we have kind of Kenobi just doing his thing. I feel like they almost wrote the script backwards. They're like, okay, Darth Vader and Kenobi need to meet. Let's, write things to figure out how that can happen. Just another, quickly put together. And then, in the end, it's Disney Star Wars nostalgia. Like, they do one thing good, and it's nostalgia. So you get the same 2 characters we got in Revenge of the Sith talking again, which was super emotional. One of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars, but just overall wasn't that great.
Yeah. I understand. It's a little higher on my list, but we'll get into it. You guys you might be mad at my number 7 on the list out of our 11 that we chose. My number 7 is Mandalorian season 2.
Oh, what?
Which means I like Rebels more. I like Obi-Wan Kenobi more. After a rewatch of Mando season 2, I felt like the first few episodes, the first majority of the season it felt like a filler episode. Episode 1 was, season 1 of Mandalorian was amazing. Even if it felt like a filler episode, it felt so fun. You had this weird character. You know what? We're going to get into it because it's in my top 5 somewhere. Season 2 was in my opinion, there was specifically 2 extremely strong episodes, which had to do with Luke Skywalker and the fuck's her name? Ahsoka.
I'm so aggressive.
Ahsoka.
We put explicit content on the episode, okay? You guys are warned.
The episode with Ahsoka might be my favorite Mandalorian episode, period. That is just amazing stuff, especially with the whole Thrawn Easter egg. It felt like Phase 1 Marvel, when you had something that you had no idea that was coming, but then all of a sudden you got a name drop or some kind of end credit scene. You have Thrawn coming in, dude. This is one of the coolest characters in Star Wars lore. So the Ahsoka episode was amazing. Obviously, the Luke Skywalker episode was amazing. And in general, it was just an action-packed scene. It was a lot of fun. The only difference was season 2 didn't feel that important. It felt like, it was just a fun little journey. I don't have any like problems with it. I just feel like I enjoyed some of the high points of Rebels more. I enjoyed the high points of Kenobi more. Mandalorian, I felt like could have been condensed into a 2-hour movie, to be honest. It's hard, but my top 7 are all things that I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm just trying to think of what hit home the most. So it's tough, and Mandalorian's pretty high. Mandalorian season 1 is amazing. Season 2 just felt like it dragged on a little bit, and it didn't stay to the point. But I'm sure that's an unpopular opinion. That's fine, whatever. So
yeah. I mean, I vehemently disagree, but it's much higher on my list, so I will get into that
for sure. I knew that coming in. It's a tough pick. I mean, some of the things with Rebels, and we'll just jump into our top 6 here, and that's my number 6 is Rebels. Like some of the things in Rebels were very, like a part of it was very childish. I wouldn't say very childish. It's just an animated show that had a lot of filler episodes, and that's fine. But some of the things they had with Ahsoka, Vader, Darth Maul coming back, like that was amazing. The end of season 2, and Darth Maul really showed his chops as a villain, trying to manipulate Ezra to the dark side. Yes,
Ezra Miller. He plays the Flash in the DCU. He also kidnaps children and burglarizes places and chokes women. Oh no, yes. You're talking about Ezra Bridger. Sorry, wrong Ezra.
Darth Maul really did a good villain. He's sitting there convincing even us as an audience. I was like, wait, did he turn like a good leaf here? Is he kind of like whatever? But obviously, this is Darth Maul, so it's probably not the case. He's still a bad guy, but whatever. He has Ezra sold. He doesn't have Kanan sold, so you kind of have the mixture of the audience perspective. But whatever. Then Vader shows up. I mean, like, the whole thing was cool. But then you have Thrawn. Thrawn is such an amazing character, dude. He's in a lot of the books. He has this cool situation where he's so different. Like, he'll study the art of a culture, like whatever the culture is creating as art, to determine their behavior and determine what kind of decisions they'd probably make in battle or whatever. So, and that way he forms his plan offensively, and he just deduces things like Sherlock Holmes. You know what I mean? He's such an interesting character, but he kind of plays both sides. Like he rose the rank of the Empire in a way where he kind of seems like a hero. Like he wants to do what's best for humanity, or not humanity, but he wants to do what's best for the galaxy. And it kind of seems like he's not a villain. He just wants to do what's best because he thinks the best way to do that is by climbing the ranks of the Empire. And in that position of power, he will have the most power to do what's best for the galaxy. It might be on the side of the villains. He might be a hierarchy in the side of the villains. And at the same time, he does a ton of villain stuff. Like what if you're reading Heir to the Empire or you're watching Rebels, like it seems like he seems like a villain, but it's at the same time, it seems like he's trying to do what's best in general. And the way he sees what doing best is like, like the Empire's in control of everything. Why wouldn't I rise the ranks of the Empire to do what's best for the galaxy? If I'm in this high position in the Empire, I'm going to be able to manipulate the situation to do what's best in general, in my mind. Like it's such a complex character. So he was done well in Rebels. Okay, let's go to you, Dave. What's number 6 on your list? What's better than Han Solo?
I got Force Awakens at 6. Highest of the trilogy, of the sequel trilogy, but again, we touched on it a lot, so I'm not really going to get into it too much, but it was good. It was fun watching it for the first time. It was fun to see Star Wars back for the first time. Beautiful cinematography, VFX, all that stuff, and we still had hope for Finn turning out to be a cool character. Yeah, we talked about it a lot, but I got Force Awakens up there. Definitely the best of the sequel trilogy.
And Caleb,
I do have Force Awakens at the same spot. Yeah, there was still a lot of hope then. It's a fun movie, but yeah, it's just a rehash of New Hope.
Okay, did you guys feel nostalgic seeing the Millennium Falcon, Han Solo, Chewbacca?
Of course.
Oh yeah, yeah. Seeing them walk on the
good
Millennium Falcon the very first time, yeah, that was
yeah.
cool. That was
Chewie,
a cool scene to see. Yeah.
So, Force Awakens is pretty high on my list. Even though it was a repeat of A New Hope, it's really high on my list. So, I'm going to get into that later on to the list.
All right.
But for now, that wraps up part 1 of our Disney Star Wars rankings. Stay tuned for part 2 to check out our top 5. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at whysosidious pod. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.